been on the same page definitely since I got here, but also even before with collectives and our team here in athletics. So even more so, a more integrated approach I think is needed in this environment. Yeah.
The collectives are still going to be there.
Yeah, they're still there. Yeah. Again, the leadership is still there. The people are still there. The infrastructure in place before is still there. That never went away. How that weaves in, those are the things that are all, evolving on a kind of daily, hourly basis.
Back in center field, Whitney Harding, WCMH.
Hey, Whitney.
Hey, Ross. Kind of a somewhat maybe silly question for you, but this is your chance to make a pitch. Who is your dream victory bell ringer?
I mean, you got to start with Archie. Again, he's one of one, right? There's only one person that, and that's why it just made so much sense. Last year, we did the statue, we did Archie Griffin Way. I mean, that was memorable, and so so it was really more about how do we take him and highlight him in a unique way. And as these plans evolved, I don't know how you pick anybody but Archie.
Over to the right, Steve Hellwagon, 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Steve.
Sounds like you're addressing the entertainment aspects of this whole experience. The two biggest complaints that we see on social media message boards: one, long lines for bathrooms;
Yep.
two, long lines missing a whole quarter of action to get a beer or a concession item, whatever. I know that you can only do so much at one time, but what can you do? And you're limited by the building as well as what you can build in. What can you do to alleviate those two big things that we just pointed out?
Yeah, that's what we're working on, right? The restroom piece would be more building and infrastructure and more like tenant improvement projects. Concessions around technology. I mean, everything is right. Point of sale. You tap your card, you can use your phone. I mean, that's sped up a lot of things. So I think technology will help on the concession part. I don't think there's technology to speed up, going to the bathroom. And so we can maybe work with AI on that. Maybe there's an AI algorithm. But the infrastructure, that's the piece that we really have to lay out, right? Over time, how do we take incremental steps and just improve the stadium? And so, we do a lot of things throughout the year to upgrade. We've winterized, another step in winterizing the stadium to make sure we can continue to host games in the playoff, but also like the hockey game. But the restroom piece, that's the part that we're mapping out from a master plan standpoint. How do we make those things happen?
Can I throw in just off what Tony was asking about? Sounds like the letter of intent is kind of going by the wayside in December. Like, what now binds the high school athlete in November, December to the college they're going to enroll in January? And how sticky?
Yeah, the letter of intent went away last year, right? That went away. And so you're signing a financial aid agreement for the scholarship piece. And then you're also now those athletes that receive a revenue share allocation will sign a revenue share MOU, memo of understanding. And so that's what would bind them to the institution. And again, there can be transfer language in there. Again, some of those things can be negotiated individually. Some of those will be standards by the Big Ten because we're part of the Big Ten. So those things will be signed in December on signing day.
By definition, what's the difference between that and a contract?
There's not much other than call it, right? Memos of understanding is what the Big Ten has laid out. It's a uniform, memo across the conference. So we're working, through the logistics of that right now. Contract, memo, whatever you want to call it, it should have the same parameters. I think what you may be getting at is the employment piece. Like, okay, where does that go? And look, I think as an industry, nobody's there yet, right? We can talk about it, but it comes with a lot of complications. And so right now we think this is the right structure. We'll keep analyzing and keep building, for what lies ahead.
Got time for just a couple more. Over to the right, Austin Ward, WBNS Radio and TV.
You guys spent months working on the premium seating project, done months of this. Now it's coming to the finish line. Like, what is the next new project? Is there one that's underway now, or is there one that's on your mind that's the next thing?
On which list? For which sport?
Football, right?
Yeah. Yeah, look, there's always something. You're always evolving. Look, we know we're sitting here in the Woody Hayes Athletic Complex. We know that this is on the list. How do we do it? How do we fund it? We're in kind of a quiet phase. We're talking to donors about this project. So we've got the Woody Hayes project on the list. We've got the new ice hockey arena on the list, and then what happens to the St. John corridor area, that's on the list. We hope to install new video boards for soccer, softball, baseball, all the outdoor venues that need an upgrade. We hope those get installed over the next year. A new video board in the Schottenstein Center. I mean, there's a constant list. Obviously, Ohio State's complex, off the ground, make those visible. Here's what we're doing. Here's the timeline. Here's the funding outline. So hopefully by this fall, we'll have a little more clarity on what that looks like.
And final question, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah.
For a little over a year now, but how much do you lean on others? This is something we can change, like the victory bell, or maybe this is something we don't touch because it's sacred to Buckeye.
Yeah, I think that's why we did the focus groups. That's why we had a great, robust process to say, is there anything that we may want to touch that we shouldn't or we need to be careful about? And so it's very, very important. So we rely on former players. We rely on staff members who have been around a long time, obviously, fans and donors, things like that. We relied on a lot of input of just saying, hey, everyone recognize the need. Then it's about how and how do we execute it. So I think it was a great process to get a lot of input.
Ross, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Folks, just FYI, Ross will be on all sides with Amy Jurovich tomorrow, 10 to 11 on WOSU.
Will the bell ring before every third down, or just like big third
It'll
downs
be,
every third down? Or?
When we need it on third down, it'll be piped in.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It won't be the actual.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Probably should have clarified. Yeah, but it'll be piped in. Yeah. What's that? Does he? Yeah, for the first game. Yeah. He won't have to do it every Thursday.
Dan Hope will be the new starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
He missed.
We're going to put Coach Day at this first one right here, and then as the rest of Fessler and the three quarterbacks come in, we'll.
You know, if you put Julian right here, we're on the post starting quarterback. Just saying. The other two didn't get the back row.
Oh, thank you.
No, there's two A's. No.
All eyes on me, dog. Illuminati.
You were like going like this. Well, yeah, I was like, what? Oh. Yeah. No, that's fair.
kind of like Dan hopefully this summed up. I had to kill a difficult push me. If I were ever a UFC fighter, if I walk out somewhere, that's what I think. I would send them to be hailing the king. Big day. I will be bigger John Ross. Notorious Stubbs if I had enough work on the goes. That would be good for sure.
But I haven't used it. I've run it for like over an hour. Didn't shut down. I think what I was doing, I was turning it on and turning it on. I think that's what kind of got it. Yeah. Because I'm running for like 35, 40 minutes. They don't ever do it wrong. You gotta keep that open. Like a kid. But it'd be a lot simpler.
Yeah, I learned that there are a lot of ideas. White balance is the background, so we always got to go and fix the post. Quick blow up. So right here, this gives enough light in here where it's not hard to do. Change the color of the background. Yes. Yeah, well, of course. And that's generally the last 3-4 years. That's like, you know, the longest one. Yeah, they have. There are 15 valve screens. Yeah, that's how it's going to continue. It's things like Pirate, they're bad. Like I said about being like hesitant, what that makes sure they do. Well, I believe in you. Yeah, it's not fair.
Mic check, 1, 2. Excellent.
Coach Day, so one question, one and done. Y'all can raise your hand as much as you want because Mike is.
I didn't get a question last night. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. Wife's gonna have to together. My daughter's gonna there's something under scarlet and gray on it. You know, we're gonna just. I don't like that either. Or you can pay your own way to college. So that.
Yeah, I don't know. We just called it for several years. We went home. 10 questions and that's it.
And like we used to do it on the Zoom, and when we started back doing it like in person, like I knew that because I saw it across the map. And that's what bothered me. They'll be doing that.
Yeah. Two and done. Two and done.
And the media room is called the Jerry Emig. That's the media room. I'll get your ass back. I'll get you back. I think it's embargoed. It's embargoed. You need to autograph that hat. That's a cool hat for doing the initials. 10 May and TN. It's really cool. That's one of the that's the cool hat. Otherwise, they're
Website, website, 247.
Just to give you breaking news during the week.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So I know just as but since Rusty breaking news.
You want something, Tim? Well, I'll hold off on them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Part of the strategy behind a lightning round. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for game one after listening to Ross.
That was cool. I think I like a lot of it. I'm sure people are going to find reasons to bitch about it. I think there's some cool ideas. That's the least surprising thing I've heard. When Hat was telling me the original song, I said no.
He looks unhappy. His hat is not on properly.
All right, hey folks, go ahead and get ready. We got Coach Day coming. No, Mike is.
right here.
Ryan, you guys were so good in short yardage and scoring touchdowns in the red zone last year, and I know there were many factors, but the quarterback run seemed to be a big reason why. The previous year, you guys weren't that good in short yardage in the red zone. Like, is that a concern going into this year at all?
It's a focus. It always is a focus, though. And we have to decide what the things are this year that we're going to do to make sure that we convert. Like you said, situationally, overall, I think we were above average in third and long, third and medium, and short yardage in terms of the national average. So we always want to be in the top 20. And so, yeah, I mean, these are all the situations. We're really working on situations quite a bit in this camp because of the first game, because of some of the new guys. And so, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, we got to put our packages together. And that's one of the things that we're looking for by the end of the week. We want to have our identity. That doesn't need to be in stone, but we at least want to have an idea. The players can tell us what we're doing and what our identity is coming out of this week.
Austin? Ryan, it seems like you got maybe some good news on Edric. When do you think he'll get back out there, or is he already back out there?
We think he's going to be involved with the team drills here within the next 48 hours, if not tomorrow, then the day after. But had another good day today, so yeah, it's good to see him moving around. And you know, he was limited today. But I think he'll be ready to get in these team drills pretty soon.
Spencer Holbrook?
You obviously hate to see a guy like Edric go down, but how much is this an opportunity for those other guys now that he's not in there right now to get those reps that you probably, quite honestly, need?
Well, I think it's important for everybody in the entire program to understand that there's a certain, when you get into the second week of preseason camp, you know, you're getting closer and closer to this first game, and guys have to understand that, you know, if they've been to starter level, take a guy like Caleb down. What it looks like, they know what it's like to be a starter. For guys who are stepping into this role for the first time, that's a new responsibility, and so they have to be able to understand that it takes a lot of work and training to get yourself ready to take on the majority of the plays, but not only take on the majority of the plays, but perform. And so everybody's got an opportunity to do that, to be, you know, thrust into that role in bigger roles than they had previously. And so when someone goes down in practice, it forces you to really step up in a lot of different ways. So, yeah, to your point, you know, when someone goes down in camp, other guys have to step up, and then you know, you got to take a hard look in the mirror to figure out, okay, like, what do I need to do to be at starter level here? Because if you get to be at starter level, we'll play you, whether it's in the rotation at defensive line or another position. But you have to earn those opportunities, and so the more opportunities these guys have to step in those roles, they got to take advantage of them.
Right here to the right, Adam King.
Coach, you've seen the quarterbacks now for a few practices. What are your thoughts? How close are they together, or is it starting to separate?
Yeah, no, they both have had, you know, good moments and moments where they're growing. The competition continues. But I will say that, you know, I've been pleased with the progress. We're not where we need to be, but if they continue to learn from the mistakes they're making and continue to grow off the plays that they're doing well and moving the offense and taking care of the football, then you know, it's going to go right down to the wire. But ultimately, they got to take care of the football. I'm seeing growth for sure. I'm seeing great attitudes, great work ethic. The practices have been intense. Just across the board. I think they're doing a good job of leading right now. Now, you know, where it goes here by the end of the week will be critical. This is kind of, I think Coach Guerreri said it's like it's moving day, moving week, like it is in the PGA Tour, you know. And
Second row, Joey Kaufman.
What, you mentioned sort of like taking care of the quarterbacks taking very long. Where I guess are they as far as that goes?
you know, when you take as many reps as you do and you're in practice every day, I can make a cut up of 10 that will look bad, and then I can make a cut up of 30 that look really good. So, you know, we're in camp flushing through all those. I think when you get more of a body of work, then you can start to identify trends as opposed to one-off situations. A guy slips, maybe the protection wasn't good, maybe someone jumped the route on defense. You know, all those things come into play when you're in preseason camp. So, you know, I've seen these now long enough to know that we need to play through it and let these guys get a body of work before we start making, you know, hard decisions on that. But again, there's been a lot of positives.
Right next door, Patrick Murphy.
Ryan, you talked about system versatility going back to last season.
Yeah.
Why does he make sense at right tackle?
Well, first off, when you look at his size compared to the guys we've had in the past, he has plenty size. When you look at his athleticism, he's athletic enough, and his strength is that way. So I've gone through it with Mick and with Tyler to see, does he have enough length? Does he have enough size to play the position? The answer is yes. And he was very comfortable there in the spring. So we're seeing some things out of him, this offseason in terms of leadership, just taking on, a great voice in that room. He was an Iron Buckeye. So all these things are leading us to believe that he can be our left tackle moving forward. But, or Austin? Yeah, so he's getting work at left right now. Yep. And but now, again, primary position, secondary positions, these things are all into play. But we believe that he can do that. He can play left tackle for us. We certainly know he can play guard. Ethan, Phil, those guys are all playing. Ian Moore. So those guys are rolling and getting a lot of reps. You guys saw in the first 3 days we've been getting a ton of reps. Now we're on one field, going ones, twos, and threes. So kind of like with the quarterbacks, we'll let this thing play out and see where we're at. But I will say that Austin's, shown that he can do it. He can play tackle.
To the left here, Cameron Teague Robinson. Ryan, kind of off that, if Austin's getting work at left, I'm assuming Ethan's getting work at both right and left, or?
Yep, yeah, and he's also got a little work at guard too. Yeah, because as we know, it's a long year. We have to be able to do that, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we certainly learned a lot from coming off of last year. So we'll continue to cross-train, but as time goes on, it's more like 80-20, then more like 60-40, maybe in the spring.
To the right here, Bill Rabinowitz.
Specifically about Julian, what have you liked about him, and what have you
But yeah, for Julian, what do we like? There's a lot to like. He's very smart, makes quick decisions. The ball comes out of his hand. He's accurate. I think he's got good movement. He's got good quickness. He's got twitch, like in his lower half, but he's got like twitch in his upper half. You remember how like quick the ball used to come out of Dwayne's hands? It's similar with Julian. And so, and I think he's building more and more of a command on the field. So those are all reasons to like him, and he's improved. He wants to be good. He knows what it takes. And so those guys they're battling their tail off right now. And I think they're both, first off, they're friends, Julian and Lincoln, and then Tavian's, coming along too, and that room's growing. But I think they're all good for each other in a lot of different ways. That has to be the best room in the country. That's the way we look at it. But to answer your question, those are the positives that we see out of Julian.
To the left here, Dan Hope.
Ryan, just going back to the offensive line, how do you feel about the overall state of where that position group is right now, both in terms of starters?
Yeah, I would say we're still developing the starters. Depth, I feel good. I feel like we have guys, for the first time in a while where, you get into like the 8th or 9th or 10th guy and you're like, well, I feel like that he's going to play for us this year. Maybe in the past we didn't quite feel that way. But the question is like, all right, well, how's this going to play out in terms of the starting five, and who's the 6th guy in? That's where all the competitions are right now. But the good news is we got a lot of guys to work with.
All right, we'll do 2 more. First one, Tim May.
Back in the previous century, when you were competing for the starting job at New Hampshire, what did you tell yourself every morning when you got up? What got you through, the
good question.
competition? Because you want to be buddies with the guy, but you also want to beat him. I mean, do you think about what they're thinking about? You know what I mean in these kind of situations?
That's a great question. When I think back on that, and one of my close friends to this day is one of the quarterbacks that was in that room, and you spend so much time together, and the easy thing when you're early on is to kind of hate the guy that you're going against, and then you spend so much time with them, they become your best friends. All that being said, you want to play. And when you're in high school, you're used to being the guy, and there's a certain level of comfort that comes with that. And when you're competing with somebody, you're kind of always looking over your shoulder, and that's not a great feeling, but it's a healthy feeling, because you know that you have to hold yourself to a certain standard. You're not allowed to have a bad day, and you certainly can't have bad plays. So, when you're going through that competition, it's not a comfortable feeling, but that's okay. That's part of the process.
And we'll wrap it up.
Go back to that. If I could talk to my former self in that spot, I would say, be the hardest worker, outwork the room, but control the things that you can control. Things like the team, commanding the huddle, commanding the line of scrimmage, your body language, your leadership, like those things make a big difference. You know, probably more than just, you know, be 15 during 7-on-7, if that makes sense.
Who's that other guy, by the way?
Oh, who the guys in the room?
The guy you said you're still friends with.
Matt Casano's his name. Yeah.
Ryan, sometimes you're in a spot where you have an established returning quarterback and there's not much question about who the starter's going to be, and sometimes you're in a spot like this with an open competition. Is there anything that an open competition into August is good for a team, good for a room, that there's positives in that, or is it just something you have to go through when you don't have the number one guy who's established?
Yeah, no, I think there's positives and negatives to everything. You know, I think you can look at it that way. You know, there's positives, I guess, to having an incumbent, but the positives of having a competition is that, you know, every day you got to bring it, and every day, you know, you got to put your best guys out there to figure out who's making progress and who isn't. And you know, guys are always on edge. They're uncomfortable. They're working at it. You know, and I think that's healthy for the entire building.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Yep.
I mean, it's all about improving every day, and you know we're trying to make it so you know every rep is game-like, and you know even in 7-on-7 and routes on air, we're practicing like we're in the game and visualizing ourselves in the game. So I think it's really important. Coach Day has been on us about that.
Are you watching what Lincoln does as well?
You know, all the quarterbacks. You know, we take tips from each other. We take you know what if they made a mistake, how can we not make that mistake in the future? And you know when I make mistakes, the other quarterbacks take tips from it too.
How's the vocal leadership for you coming along from where you maybe were in the spring?
Yeah, I feel like I'm developing in that area. You know, in the weight room, Coach Mick. You know, we've been focusing on that, trying to improve in the vocal leadership and just as a team. You know, growing our leaders.
Do you have to almost force yourself to do that, or is that something that's comfortable for you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm developing in that role and kind of getting a more comfortable role in that.
Hey, can you just get up to the mic for me just a little bit?
Yeah, I got you.
What kind of day did you have today, Joey, in your estimation?
Yeah, I feel like I had some good plays out there, and then there's stuff to clean up. You know, we're gonna get back in there and watch the tape, and you know, see what we got to clean up, and then you know, correct it, and move on to tomorrow.
How eager are you to know the answer to the question that everybody's been asking for 7 months now? Who's the starting quarterback at Ohio State?
Yeah, you know, we're just taking it one day at a time. You know, we have a close room here, and you know, I focus on you know how I played today, and then just improving, and you know how I'm going to go practice tomorrow, and just getting my mindset ready for practice tomorrow.
Coach Day was talking about when he had gone through quarterback competitions as a player and kind of, you know, hating the guy at first, but then, you know, getting really close to him and kind of going through that competition. What's kind of your relationship been like with Lincoln as you guys have, you know, entered this competition?
Yeah, I think you know in the spring we only had 3 guys here in the room. You know, me, Tavian, and Lincoln. So we were very close as a group, and you know that's just grown this over the summer and then into this camp. You know, we're a very close room, and Coach Fessler leads that. So it's a very close room, and you know, yeah, we compete every day, but we have each other's backs for sure.
What do you feel like the biggest places in which you've grown from where you were this spring to where you are right now?
Yeah, I feel like you know just developing in my footwork and you know in my accuracy, my mechanics, and then you know just developing as a leader is where I wanted to grow, and I feel like I've done some of that this summer.
Do you feel like you get more comfortable out there every day?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's just all about building confidence. You know, you make a great play, you start to build that confidence. So it's definitely important.
How much are you on social media? Do you pay attention to what's being said?
Oh, I don't really go on social media. You know, in camp, you know, we're just it's all about ball. So you know, I text with my close friends and family. You know, but you know, just out here with my teammates and bonding, and it's all about ball.
Do you know Arch Manning? Do you know him?
I don't know him, and I know he's a great player, and I've seen him play over the years, but I don't know him personally.
And you personally, what do you think you will show people if in fact you get this job that's different, about what you bring to the program?
Yeah, I'm just focusing on improving and developing myself, and just being ready if my number is called.
You mentioned sort of like in the spring you was a small quarterback room, so you mentioned you guys.
Mhm.
You guys do anything to bond or?
Yeah, we do quarterback stuff. We go over to Coach Fessler's house and hang out. And it's a very tight room, and we hang out off the field and do a lot of stuff together. So it's good. Yeah, we this summer I know we ended up all the quarterbacks. We were playing pig at Coach Fessler's house, and yeah, it was fun. It's I'm trying to improve in every day this camp, and I feel like I'm just still trying to improve in that area, and I feel like I've done a good job.
Is vocal leadership something that comes natural to you, like having that command, or is it something that you do have to especially work on?
Yeah, I feel like I'm developing it, but I feel like you can't be someone that you're not. So there's definitely different styles of leadership, but I feel like I'm developing into that more vocal leadership role.
It will always be yours.
Yeah, I think earning trust is just all about consistency. Who are you day in and day out, and are you making the routine plays routinely, and are you someone who the offense can count on and who your teammates can count on consistently? Yeah, we're competing every day, but we know we have each other's backs, and it's a very close room, like I said before, and we have a great room, and it's all about the strength of our room, and if we can all be at our best.
We saw you growing with some of the guys in the summer in California. Kind of, what was the process like? Who came up with that idea, and how beneficial was that?
Yeah, some of the guys, they just ended up coming out, and we were able to get routes in, over our to just work on that chemistry.
Was that your idea to have them come out?
I think they just ended up coming out on their own, and we connected up there.
What's the area that you're most focused on right now personally, or that the coaches have talked to you about growing in over the next couple weeks of camp?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just focusing on developing and my execution of the offense, and commanding that huddle and improving in that leadership role.
Julian, how hard is it to maintain that day-to-day focus and not try to think ahead behind this and that? How hard is it to just stay focused on the process?
I feel like it's just being where your feet are. I'm excited to be out there practicing every day. I get to play get to play the game I love, and just be out there and be with my teammates and having fun. And we watch the tape, we correct it, and just move on to the next day. But it's just playing the game I grew up playing and playing the game I love with my teammates.
Your national championship media day, you said you want to improve at everything. You said you really were focused on getting stronger during the summer, spring and summer. How do you think that went?
Yeah, I definitely put on a couple pounds with Coach Mick in the weight room, and I think I've definitely gotten stronger this summer and this winter.
Where are you up to now?
I'm at 210 now.
And you're what? Everybody keeps thinking you're 5'5". You're taller.
No, I'm 6'1". Yeah, 6'1".
You said when it comes to vocal leadership, it's about being authentic and true to who you are. So who are you as a leader? Like, are you the kind to encourage guys? Are you the kind to ride guys? Like, what is your authentic leadership style?
Yeah, I feel like everyone's different. So there's some guys that you got to get on and you got to be very vocal with them, and they're gonna come back and make the next play. So it's different with everybody, I feel like.
Julian, two more questions. You talked to Will Howard at all?
I haven't talked to Will recently, no. But when spring ball, he was out here, and we got to connect. And he's obviously very, very close with our room and Coach Fessler. So I love Will.
Julian, when you're away from football, what's something that you use to kind of get your mind away from this competition and help? Like, what are some hobbies or things that you do to not focus on that?
Yeah, when I'm in California, I love going to the beach, hanging out with friends, and just being with friends, being with family, and spending time with them.
Julian, how have you seen Brandon Ennis step up as he's kind of prepared to take on a bigger role?
Yeah, Brandon Ennis brings a lot of energy, vocal guy for the offense, and he's definitely done a great job this far this camp, and he's a great player, and he's a very good receiver.
All right, Julian, thank you.
California, was that
I was in Orange County.
Thank you, Julian.
Folks, we have Billy Fessler on the 20.
That's a great question. That's a great question. Yeah, I think we're in a situation where number one, we've got to be consistent. We've got to make the routine plays on a consistent basis, day in and day out, rep in, rep out. We can't afford to be in a spot where we don't make those plays. But as fall camp goes on, the way that it's situated is usually the first couple of days are more normal downs, and as it goes, you start to get into more situational football. We have got to be great on third down. We have got to be great in the red zone. That's where we have to excel, and we've got to be great in 2-minute drives. That's where quarterbacks make their money. And so we're in a spot where we're getting more and more of those situations every day. So it's an opportunity for those guys to go out and compete. And it's exciting. I think they're pushing each other. I think everyone in the room is really good for each other right now. And as we come out of this thing, I think that we'll be a very strong quarterback room, and that's to me was most exciting about this.
It looked like Julian was more comfortable out there those first few days than maybe he was in the spring. Is that something you've noticed with him going from spring to camp?
I think across the board, all three of those guys have got more and more comfortable. Just when you step into spring ball, right, there's got to be corrections. There's got to be, adjustments. There's got to be things that you're working on every single day. And then you give them stuff that they have to work on in the summer. And they're grinding through those different looks, and they're watching a lot of tape and, getting on the field and getting extra work in. And that's the goal, that all three of them took a step from spring ball into fall camp, and I'm confident that they did. Yeah, I think, there's so much to quarterback play, right? So to sit here and go through all those things, we could be here all day. But as simple as things as our footwork, as our base, as making sure that we're getting to the target, as making sure that we're in a spot where our back foot's connected to the ground and it's underneath our back hip, and we're powerful and using everything we have from the ground. Decision making, getting our eyes in the right spot every snap, to know exactly what we're looking at, to be able to recognize pre-snap what we think the defense is going to do, and then post-snap, can we confirm that's what the defense does? Okay, and having a plan, right? What if it's not the look that I thought it was going to be? Now what? Where do my eyes need to be, and how does that affect my decision? But constantly playing those games, both on the field, but also I think it's just as important to play that in your head. We talk to those guys all the time that we're laying around at bed and maybe watching some film and look at a clip and it'll be, okay, what would I do here on this play? What would I do here on this play? And constantly challenging your mind to play with an imagination, even when we're not out there on the field doing it, is an opportunity to grow, is an opportunity to get better. And maybe somehow mentally I can put myself in that position. So if I do get a look that hadn't shown up on tape all year long, but they give us a different look on defense than maybe they've shown, I'm ready for that moment.
Where have you seen Lincoln grow?
What's that?
Where have you seen Lincoln grow?
Well, number one, he's an Iron Buckeye, so which is pretty incredible. Obviously, we know that's a big deal around here, and his work in the weight room was tremendous. So as an athlete, we've definitely seen that. And then, on top of that, we've seen him grow as a leader. He's more vocal. His presence is felt. I think he's playing with a little bit of an edge to him, which is good to see. I think you have to play that position with a little bit of an edge without, ever getting too high or too low, and that's contagious. So we're seeing that right now from Lincoln. And then, as far as mechanically it goes, we're definitely seeing Lincoln get the ball out quick. I think he's accurate. I think that his base has improved. There's been, a couple of things that in the spring he was working on with his footwork, and we've seen some drastic improvements that way.
With Lincoln specifically, you know that he's got the black jersey on. A lot of his athleticism probably gets taken away by blowing the play dead or things like that. How do you see him as an athlete in that regard, while also not being able to see it as much on the practice field since he's not live?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't see it to the full extent as though you go live. But we still see it, we still see it. There's times when he's extending plays or stepping up through the pocket and taking off and going. And there's no question Lincoln's a great athlete, and that's got to be something that he plays to his strengths. That's got to be something that his game has in it, which he's shown to do a great job of. He's made a couple plays throughout spring where he's extended the play and kept his eyes downfield and made some great throws. So, that's, although we can't see that quite as well because we're not going live, there's still definitely a feeling for that.
He does a lot of that athleticism regard, and I'm sure there are things that Julian does really well. How do you make sure that those guys are trying to win the competition on what they do well, but also making them get out of their comfort zone so they're being thrust into positions that maybe they're not super comfortable with to show you guys that they can do those things?
Yeah, I mean, as we script practice and we go through it, we try to be extremely detailed in the different reps that everyone's getting, and it's not like we would ever script a certain play on purpose because it fits someone's strengths better. We want them to run the offense. The offense is always going to adjust to the skill set of the players that are in the entire offense. But at the end of the day, the offense is going to be the offense. So from a decision-making perspective, from a throw perspective, those guys are going out there and getting those reps and competing in it.
Joey, I assume that at this point of training camp, you're not really thinking in terms of who's ahead. At what point do you need to start thinking that way? Or are you just right now, it's pure development and we'll get there?
Yeah, right now we're just taking it day by day, and really period by period on the field, meeting by meeting off the field. The one thing that's pretty cool is those guys are very competitive and they push each other hard, and they're ultimately really good for each other because they both make each other uncomfortable because they're both very good players. And Tavian's right there with them, included in that mix, and above all of that, they're still friends. I think what's pretty cool right now is just, you walk into that quarterback room and you got a bunch of really, really good guys that all get along well and are willing to help each other out and give each other pointers and tips if they see something. And, it's an enjoyable environment to be around every day, but ultimately those guys are competing, they're going out there and they're trying to win the job, and I think they realize that every moment is important and every period is important, and they're going out there trying to get it done.
One last question, folks.
When you talk about a quarterback getting the ball out, how much of that is mental? Like how quickly they see someone to then get the ball out fast?
Definitely a combination of both. I think when you look at a concept, and the way that I can process that information quickly is, where are my eyes? Are my eyes in the right spot? If I'm looking at the right thing and I can anticipate what that defender is going to do and make a decision and get the ball out, right? That's a major factor in it. But I think more than anything, it's about making sure my eyes are in the right spot, making sure that I'm trusting what my read is, and making sure that I'm getting the ball out and making a great decision with the football.
Coach Fessler, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Right, exactly. Folks, we have Lincoln Keenholz just outside the 20.
Lincoln, what does it mean to be named an Iron Buckeye?
It means a lot. I think it's something that I think everyone on our team should strive for, and it's something that I think is probably the biggest honor in the program, especially in the off season. So it definitely means a lot.
Lincoln, Coach Fessler said that you were getting the ball out a little bit quicker. How did you go about improving in that area kind of over the summer, and how have you seen that show up on the practice field so far?
I think just coming in and understanding the offense more and more, I think it just helps you play faster and you see things differently. So
Was that more of a mental thing, understanding thing than it was changing up mechanics?
I mean, a little bit of both. I mean, we talk. Coach Day tells me all the time to keep the ball up a little bit, so don't go through a big wind motion, and then just flick and follow. That's something that I've been working on. So.
Did you have like a long term bucket list of things coming out of last year that you knew you had to get better at? You follow my drift there to get to where you want to go and stuff. Can you delineate a couple of those things where you definitely think you've made an improvement, like your release?
Yeah, I'd say probably first and foremost get my body weight right, get to a spot where I can get faster. That's something I've been working towards this off season with Coach Mick in the weight room, and that's something that I've been looking into a lot. And then also, I mean, football wise, just film study. That's something that we also did off season as quarterbacks, just come in and watch film together and just get better. So.
Yeah, how big are you now, weight wise?
Like 215.
And you're what?
6'3". Yep.
Was being an Iron Buckeye an active goal of yours?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's something that I had on my bucket list the start of summer. I think the first week of May was something that I was looking into, and then also getting my body weight up. That was something as well. So.
I don't know how often quarterbacks get that honor here. Like, what do you think that says about you and your approach to things and your work ethic, and like how people should view you as a quarterback?
I think it just shows. Also on the field, just go out there and be my best, and I mean, just hopefully prove to my teammates that my leadership's there as well. So.
Coach Day and Coach Fessler both said that the quarterback room that you guys were in. How is Julian good for you, and how
I think we keep pushing each other. I mean, just every day in practice, there's different things that he does on film that I look at to get better, and then I feel like there's things that he looks at that I do too. So I think it's just things we can kind of use each other to get better and keep pushing each other. I do, yeah. I think leadership-wise, that's something. Body feels good as well, and then just going out there, being a leader for my teammates. Yeah. I mean, I feel way different. I mean, as a freshman going in there, I didn't really know a whole lot. I think the biggest thing is probably protection for me. I didn't really know really how that worked, and I mean, now that's something that I feel like I'm pretty good at, and I can go out and execute that well. And I mean, also, I mean, I've been in the offense for 3 years now, so it's something that I think just more time, more reps, and film study, it's helped me get better. So.
Lincoln, everybody. We've heard a lot about your athletic background in high school and different sports, positives, but also you weren't as focused on purely playing quarterback. These couple of years that you have been purely focused on quarterback, how much has that changed? Some of those things you just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, just being an athlete helps. First and foremost, playing basketball, baseball, football. I think that helped me kind of get to the position I'm at right now. But now being in college, it's way different. I mean, just having 3 years to kind of just focus on football and playing quarterback, I think it's helped me, put me in a good spot. So.
Looking at your athleticism, it seems like the black jersey could be restrictive for you at times. How do you kind of overcome that, be able to flash that athleticism, and show these coaches that you can do all of these things while also knowing that you're not live and having that black jersey?
I think doing a good job, if that's reading DNs, I mean, making a pull, being decisive on that. I think also extending plays at times that need to be extended. I think that's really something that quarterback at times when a play breaks down or something's not there. So, yeah.
What's the difference between being friends with guys in the quarterback room and being friendly with them? What did that develop if you guys are?
I'd say we're friends, honestly. I think just the past 2 years, Julie and I have had developed a good friendship and good relationship towards each other, and then obviously with Taven coming in this year as well, I think we're all better and be the best we can. So.
Julian have similar interests?
I mean, it's a little different. He's a Cali kid. I'm from South Dakota, so I mean, there's some things that we have an interest together, but then there's also a lot of things that we do on our free time. I think this summer a big thing was golf. I golfed with Julian a couple of times this summer, so I think that's something that we kind of share interest in. So I did, yep. I do not think so. I do not think so.
Is he any good at golf?
He's all right. He's all right. Yeah. I'm not gonna answer that question.
Being an all-around athlete like you were in high school, though, gives you some, for other term, street cred with your fellow players here too. That kind of like you've shown in the softball games and things like that. That you are this athlete. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think.
do a lot of things.
Yeah, I think being an athlete kind of shows that if something were to happen and I need to go in or being the guy, I think just stuff like that, like they can rely on me just being an athlete and going and make plays. And then also, I mean, just like off-season weight room stuff as well, just being able to do different things at a high level. So.
You know, does it bother you that a lot of Ohio State fans just remember that 2 quarters and a quarter against Missouri? You know what I mean? That's what they've seen most of the season. Like you said, you've gone a long way in that regard. What do you want the fans to know about you that maybe they don't understand yet?
I mean, that was almost 3 years ago, so I think just more experience. I put in time, I guess, in the off-season, film study, weight room, just get myself ready for a good situation. So.
Do you even think about that?
Last question for Lincoln.
I mean, not really. I mean, it honestly was like I don't know how to explain there, but I mean, I went in and tried to do my best for the team. So.
Lincoln, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's not bragging, just say you're better than Blue.